Good afternoon. My name is Jason Rodriguez. I'm here for Group 6. I'm going to speak about the major trends in the industry and legal environment and FIU student opportunities for Goldman Sachs. Global investments banking revenue in the year 2007 was $84.3 billion, which is up more than double since 2003. The United States alone had about 53% of that, and Europe had about 32% of the total. Many investment banks in 2008 turned into bank holding companies because they were eligible for emergency government assistance. Goldman Sachs reported earnings of about $9.34 billion and record earnings of $19.69 per share. The company ranked number one in annual net income when compared to 86 peers in the investment services sector. Mr. Blankfein, the current CEO, received about $67.9 million in bonuses. By 2007, many companies were feeling the financial bubble burst in their faces, starting with Freddie Mac announcing that they weren't going to purchase high-risk mortgage-related securities. An after effect of that was that CEOs no longer wanted to receive their bonuses in stocks. For example, Mr. Blankfein decided to receive some cash as far as his bonus versus the former CEO, Henry Paulson, who received his bonus entirely in stocks. Then the New Century Financial Corporation, which was a leading subprime mortgage lender, had filed for Chapter 11. By July, Standard & Poor's had placed 612 securities backed by subprime residential mortgages on watch, and Bear Stearns had liquidated 2 hedge funds that invested in various types of mortgage-backed securities. Many different programs were being put out to assist in the early problems, such as Hope Now, which is an alliance for investors, and TAF, which is a term auction facility which fixed amounts of term funds would be auctioned to depository institutions against a wide variety of collateral. By March 2008, there were $50 billion worth of TAF auctions. Also, more important, the Fed approved the financing arrangements of JP Morgan Chase to buy out Bear Stearns. Even with the problems, the U.S. Treasury Department gave another temporary increase in the credit lines of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. By July 2008, was when the SEC finally issued an emergency order temporarily prohibiting the short selling in the securities of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and primary dealers at commercial and investment banks. At this point, everyone knew of the housing crisis and how bad the market was. Bush had signed the Law for Housing and Economic Recovery Act. By September, Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy, and AIG received $85 million from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York as a bailout of their economic situation. As well as that, the SEC had put a temporary emergency ban on short selling in the stocks of all companies in the financial sector. By the end of September, Goldman Sachs was approved to become a bank holding company. To become a bank holding company was basically to allow yourself to be eligible for the emergency funds. So this is basically an easy way out. By October, Congress and Bush finally signed off on the program known as TARP, which was the Troubled Asset Relief Program. It injected $700 billion into the 12 largest banks. The FDIC at this point began covering up to $250 as well. And on top of that, Goldman Sachs, the government bought $10 billion worth of the preferred stock. In November, the U.S. Treasury purchased $3 billion in preferred stock from 23 banks, and then they purchased another $4 billion as well. To show more faith in the FDIC, they restated their guarantee even if the banks had failed. The trend kept on with more lending and more purchasing from the Treasury to assist in the economic status of the economy. At the moment, Goldman Sachs is facing legal issues. The SEC is actually charging them with deceiving clients by selling them mortgage securities secretly designed by a hedge fund designed by Henry Paulson. And currently there are no Goldman Sachs postings in the under FIU for students to get a position there in career services. And it is very difficult, even though it is a very difficult company to get a job with, they are actually in the top 10 in the United States to work for. Thank you.